Hello, dear ladies and gentlemen. This is your Ukrainian guide, Selena. Of course, you remember Christina Katrakis, the amazing work that she's doing in Ukraine for the internally displaced people and for the militaries and for the people of Ukraine. Christina, hello. I'm very glad to see you. So share with us that news that I wanted to share with us.
Well, I guess you are asking about Mr. Valeri Zaluzhnyi joining our team as an ambassador of light. Actually,
Of course I do, because Valeri Zaluzhnyi is the commander of the Ukrainian army. He's like the main guy who planned the counteroffensive, who defended Ukraine, keeps defending Ukraine. And he joined your nonprofit. I think that is amazing news. And congratulations on that. Why he decided to join your nonprofit, because there are many nonprofits like yours in Ukraine, many people trying to help, but I know that Valeri Zaluzhnyi is very selective in where he joins, because his name has reputation.
And that's the most valuable thing for us, and we are really honored. And he's going to be your fellow ambassador of light, so you are in an amazing team, I would say. And I guess the reason is because we've been supporting military now for almost 2 years, since the third day of war, nonstop. And we are providing on permanent basis to more than 150 units, military units on the front lines. And that's not just like one-time aid. This is monthly aid on stable basis. And very few NGOs do that, because lots of NGOs can send, aid to a specific unit once a time, and then to another, and then to another. But to support them, to kind of, we call them our elderly children, our older children, our teenagers, to kind of adopt them and love them and provide for them on monthly basis. It's a relationship that we develop through the war. And we know our soldiers, we know our units, we deliver aid personally. Right now, our crisis coordinator, Roman, with the team, who's also my husband, he's right now at the front lines, actually in Liman. And the situation there is getting worse, as you know, because there's a push from the Russian side towards Kharkiv. For example, Kupiansk, that was liberated, is now actually at the front lines again. So lots of hardship there. The war continues. So we've been doing this for almost 2 years, and very modestly, very quietly, and actually, when we got a call from Mr. Zaluzhny's office and representatives, they said, you guys are amazing. Why you're so modest about it? Why you kind of don't talk about it? And I said, well, for first is that my original position in Ukraine, as you know, is an ambassador for the Foundation for United Nations SDG. So in order for us to start helping military openly, we had to register a totally independent NGO, which is Be the Light, in US, because I'm a US citizen, so that was natural. So that everyone who donates to our NGO gets tax deduction, right? But also we can openly support military, support frontline medics, provide for them. So that was one of the reasons why we did it, and how we could do it, how we kind of could go over the system and be able to provide for the military and armed forces. So yeah, and actually the biggest award went to Lil Mark, because when the war started, he was 6. He just turned 8. And since the third day of war, he's been loading trucks for armed forces of Ukraine with aid. So finally, he got acknowledged. His job got acknowledged by the head of the armed forces of Ukraine. So that was very special for him. He got Mr. Zaluzhny's personal patch, chevron, right? And the cap that Zaluzhny took from his head and put in Mark's head, and he got a medal for all the hard work that he's been doing. So, get a medal from Zaluzhny.
Mark is your son, to make it clear, right?
Yes, Yes, and he's with us everywhere. He's been going to every border crossing, loading, unloading trucks since the third day of war. That's our first truck that we actually crossed.
We will not be posting photographs of Mark for security reasons, of course.
Yes, because we had to actually change locations and hide because we were several times under threat by the FSB trained people. Awkwardly enough, they were all Belarusian, but trained by Russia and sent to Ukraine, to our area, to target us specifically because, we chose willingly to stay in Ukraine. We shout on every channel that Russia must pay for what it's doing and what it's done, and that it's criminal and terrorist state. And, I'm American with an American child, being an ambassador for the UN foundation. That it's a target. As our friend, he's passed away. Said that it's Monastersky said that for them it's like to put a army star if you catch somebody like us, and bring them to Russia. So yeah, we made our choice. Our choice is victory, and our choice is Ukraine. So it's kind of security reasons that we have to consider, though.
So you say you are American with Ukrainian passport. Are you Ukrainian too?
I'm American with an American. And Mark is American with a Ukrainian passport as well, because he's actually the only person who can legally have two passports, because his father is Ukrainian and his mother is American. So it's kind of a case, a unique case where Ukrainian government allows that. Yeah, I consider myself Ukrainian. I mean, I'm the symbol of Ukraine on Maidan. How can I not? And my parents live here. I was born here. When I was 10, we moved out, and then 10 years ago I came back, and I haven't left since, and went through Maidan and now going through the war. So how more Ukrainian can you get?
Christina, since Valeri Zaluzhny joined the mission, the new nonprofit, Be the Light, that was formed specially to help openly the militaries now, right? And I was really honored to be one of the first ambassadors of this nonprofit. So I am in a great company now with Valeri Zaluzhny. It's such a big honor. I'm like, wow, it's like I'm now one handshake away from the commander-in-chief of Ukrainian Army. Wow.
And, he's a very special person, and it was kind of incredible, the peace, the inner peace that he radiates, and when we walked out of his office, I said to my husband, I said, is he meditating? What is he doing? He's really like Yoda, that's the nickname they gave to Zaluzhny in Ukrainian Yoda. And he's really like that. It's just this big man that is so sweet, soft, and tender, and peaceful, like this inner strong peace that you feel calm just by being next to him. And he's not this military type that is rough and tough. It's actually a very warm, likable and personable person. It's incredible. So for a person like that to be in the role that he is and to remain like that, that's, I think, unique. He actually radiates the light. So if there could be any super ambassador of light, that would be the Jedi you would choose, because to be so strong like a pillar and yet so peaceful and radiant, that's the qualities how I would describe Zaluzhny. And most importantly, that we started a special project that would actually target especially aid for military, and it's called With the Shield. And that name came from the fact that I'm also part Greek and have my background is history and arts. So the idea came from the Spartan saying, "With the shield or on it."
So let's maybe go quickly now about what you are doing and what you will be doing?
We continue to to work on many fronts, right? So we never stop. No matter how hard it is. And it's getting harder because, as you know, worldwide in news, I guess everybody's tired. I get a statement like, we're tired of the war. I said, guys, we cannot afford to get tired of the war. We're living in it every day. We get missile attacks every day, literally. And like yesterday, I had, two missiles flying right over my house in Kiev. I could hear them so loudly. I felt like it was an airplane landing on the roof, and things got shut down by our forces, amazing air defense forces, by the way. But that's something that is an everyday reality here, and you cannot just say, well, we're tired, so we're not going to show this, or we're going to pretend that it's not happening. It is happening, and so our mission continues for as long as it's happening and beyond, because I guess the biggest work that will have to be done will be afterwards, rebuilding, helping for people to get back to at least somewhat normality, right? Their homes, livelihood, and what's not. We are continuing to support our IDPs in our base in Vorota. And that is an ongoing thing. And we still have a bunch of them because lots of them are from the still occupied by Russians territories, such as Mariupol, Berdyansk, Melitopol, Luhansk area, and Kherson area, part of Kherson area. So they have actually nowhere to go to. So, and most of them are women with kids, because men stayed behind to defend the land or went into armed forces, or elderly that were able to leave. Yeah, it's no longer 5,000, even though we have a project called Vorota 5,000, because that was our original number, and it was varying from time to time. Lots of people are coming back, the ones that actually immigrated, and then they felt like we actually offer better conditions than Bulgaria or Hungary or any other countries to where they immigrated, because you live in the resort in the mountains, you have free food, you have all the aid you need that you can take from the storage for your children, for yourself. It's provided for, and now we even provide medicine, which I will get to. That's our next project. We also continue to provide aid for civilians still living at the front lines, because lots of them are still at the front lines. And I get this question all the time whenever I post reports, like, why the heck they're still there? Why didn't they evacuate? That's the usual question I get. And the reason is, some Ukrainians are very connected to the land and to their house, and that as a Ukrainian, and especially elderly people. It's impossible, almost impossible, like to drag them out of their village and out of their house and their garden, and they would be planting potatoes under missiles. That's that's the devotion they have to their land and their home. And on the other hand, elderly people have nowhere to go, and they feel like that's their choice to remain there. There are also a large amount of disabled people still living at the front lines. So we focus on those categories. Women and children, most of them left, and we have a lot of them at our base. But the elderly and the sick people, they're still there, and we have to provide for them. We have to help them. It's not an option for us to just close our eyes and pretend they're not there, because they need medical aid, they need food, they need everything as usual people would. And also there's some children in the towns like Kramatorsk and Slavyansk that are almost at the front line, still living and still trying to move forward as much as they can, because their parents are working there as medics or as rescue specialists. So, you know, the kids are there with the parents. So we still deliver to the front lines. We help medics and paramedics with our partners from England, from America, from all over the world. And we continue on helping paramedics and medics, and we deliver aid to the front lines to them. That actually saves lives, literally saves lives. Because you know that this counterattack was going and is going slow, and it's very difficult because Ukraine still doesn't have the technical equipment, the military technical equipment that it needs. You know, you can't go against a huge Russian army with 10 tanks, you know, talking metaphorically, you know, and right now the count is 1 Ukrainian to 2 Russian to 10 Russians. So you understand how difficult it is. So saving lives at the front lines right now is a priority. So we focus on that as well. We continue on helping hospitals, frontline hospitals, as well as recovery hospitals around Ukraine. So together with our partners from US and England, we deliver aid to them, medical aid that they need for treating the patients and saving lives. We started a very unique program called Never Again, together with Jewish organization in Ukraine and in Israel that is focusing on remembering people that are true heroes that actually saved Jews during the Holocaust and during the World War II in Ukraine. So basically they hid Jewish families in their basements, in their houses, risking their own lives. And these are Ukrainians, you know, but everybody has forgotten about them. So together with our partners, we're trying to remember that and help them and help their families that are still here in Ukraine. Lots of these people are very old and they really need help and support. But for us, it's more of a statement. You know, it's a statement that never again, you know, the situation is similar, and the crimes that are being committed are very similar crimes that Russia is committing. So for us, it's a moment of remembrance and honor, you know, and honoring the heroic acts of these Ukrainian people who risked their lives to save Jewish lives and Jewish families from terror. And we hope that after this war, there will be no more terror such as that we've seen in Bucha, Irpin, and in World War II. The other project that we also started and continue is support of the children's sports teams at the front lines, or children's sports teams from the occupied areas like Verdansk. I think it's very important to support their spirit. As you see, our Ukrainian sportsmen and sportswomen are showing amazing results, and actually promoting Ukraine worldwide, right? So we hope that this new generation will continue to do that, and they need that support and they need that touch of normality so they could continue develop their skills. Another project that we started is called Doctors of Life, and basically it's free medical treatment and checkup and medicine for our IDPs at our base. So this is a unique project. It hasn't been done before in Ukraine on that scale, and so we hope that if it goes well, it could be implemented in other areas in Ukraine where people have very little access to high quality medicine. So we started this project with Chalice of Mercy. That's American foundation, and Valentina Povsikova. I know that you know them, Alana, and you've been actually doing a show on their partners on Protest Foundation, helping Ukrainian soldiers and children without limbs. And so I hope that this will blossom and become bigger. But right now we have teams of doctors from Kyiv, some of the best specialists in the country, coming to Vorokta once a month, doing free checkups for all the IDPs and families whose husbands or family members are at the front lines, and doing treatment if needed, and providing free medicine for them. So this is something unique and very special because Vorokta didn't have that quality of medicine to cater to all the IDPs that it ended up with. So we had to resolve that issue, especially for kids and pregnant women and women in general. And out of other projects, gosh, we were in Odessa recently, so you know the horrible things that were happening there and the bombardment that the city went through. And we actually saw the missile attack firsthand from the sea. So we were in the first row, and it was the first time in my life that I saw missiles flying into the sea. And it was scary and captivating at the same time, you know, like magic. It's like a falling star. It just falls in the water, and you hear that sound, and then you see it kind of like disappear in the water, and the light radiates throughout the sea. It was scary and beautiful at the same time. Never seen anything like that. Because in Kyiv, you don't see that. And the next morning, we went to the site of the church that got destroyed. We went to other areas that were damaged in Odessa region. You know that Ismail was next one, and that's actually my husband's student city. He studied.
Oh, no way.
Yes,
I
yes.
am from
His
Ismail
degree in philology from Ismail University.
Oh, really?
My sister has her philology from Ismail University, and I was living like on the other side of the road from this university. Wow.
See, I always knew that you're my sister from another mister, so that just proves it. It's too many serendipitous things going on in this life. But you know, for us, it was a big shock. It was a big blow.
It is shocking to me a lot because in Ismail they destroyed the port, basically. The river station where, like the restaurant on the river where I celebrated my graduation from school, that building was destroyed. And in the same building, we celebrated our wedding with my husband. So yeah, that touched me a lot too, Christina. It's personal.
And you know, and it's obvious what Russia is trying to do is the terrorist mentality and the terrorist tactics, right? They're trying to destroy all the routes for the grain supply to the rest of the world from Ukraine. So it's a blockade not only in the sea that they've been doing now for 2 years in a row, but also throughout the rivers right now. And that actually is frightening, not just for Ukraine, but for the world, because lots of countries, especially in Africa, they rely on Ukrainian grain. And, you know, right now to switch to a substitute would be very complicated and difficult to maneuver. So this can be, this is the way they're trying to terrorize actually not only Ukraine, but the Western world, including United States. Yeah, so put into starvation the countries that need that help the most.
I mean, targeting just the storages of grain. In Ismail that day, they destroyed 40,000 tons of grain. You know, targeting the grain, just destroying food so that Ukraine cannot deliver it to other countries who need it. It's like they were weaponizing winter, and now they are weaponizing hunger again, like last year. And they will keep doing it again and again. It's nonstop. It's beyond, really.
And that's why I'm saying it's not just Ukraine's war. It's and the world has to really realize that and wake up to that. And the tactic with hunger, you know, Russia's been using it throughout, you know, its history. Remember the Holodomor, right? The starvation of 33, and then 47. So it's classic, you know, and that's the scariest thing, is that they really have no value for human life. and not just somebody's life, some country, be it Ukraine, US, Africa, people who rely on this grain, but their own people's lives that they throw onto the battlefield as meat. So it's what, over 200,000 and counting, and it doesn't matter to them. So that's the scariest thing, you know, and that's what the world has to realize and act upon before it's too late. So I kind of, and then another trip that we did recently was with the recent brutal news again from Russia was our previous trip to the front lines, and our coordinator and my husband Roman was at the same restaurant in Kramatorsk that got destroyed 2 days later, literally 2 days later. So I met Roman at the train station coming from Kramatorsk, and then a day later it got destroyed. And he knew all the waiters there. You know, that was the usual spot where all the international NGOs and everyone who worked in the area, delivered aid in the area, would stop to eat, because that was like the only normal place to eat. And actually all the waiters were very young. They were like 19, 20 years old, and they were from west of Ukraine. They were children. And just to do something like that, you know, it's not a military point, it's not strategic, you know, it's a restaurant where people and kids were eating. And of course, lots of people died, including half of the staff that Roman knew.
How human we are that we are still surprised by what Russia is doing. I mean, we know that Russia is a monster. It proved it so many times, but still every next crime that Russia is committing, every next act of terrorism, it keeps us by surprise, gets us by surprise, because we don't expect usually anything.
Yeah, I think that's the downfall of Ukrainians, you know. And I was actually, I talked about it to my husband Roman when the dam was blown up, right? So I said, listen, we are planning a counterattack. How couldn't we calculate that the Russians could blow up a dam? I said, well, because that's crazy. Why would anyone do that? They would like destroy thousands of innocent lives. They would flood islands full of houses, animals. You know, there is a nature resort, right? Olashkivsky Piski and so on. You know, like, why would you, Askania Nova, why would you do that? That's crazy. Only, you know, imbeciles, only mad people would even think of doing that. Plus, they would flood their own positions. Their own soldiers would die. So, of course, we didn't think that they would do it. And you know, like, we kind of thought, well, no, they would not do that, you know. But see, this is the thing, because Ukrainians are different people. You know, they're completely different people. They're sensible, they're smart, they're wise, they're kind. You know, they're kind to every little animal at the front line. I mean, if you would see how our soldiers, you know, rescue animals, I mean, it's incredible. You know, not to mention children and everyone else. But and we wouldn't even comprehend that somebody can be so stupid, so mad as to do something like that. You know, that would be an ecocide. It's an ecocide not just for Ukraine, because all that stuff went into Black Sea, and we saw it in Odessa when we were there. Now, you know, it's all floating at the front line of the beach in Odessa. In Arcadia, you can see it. You know, pieces of sofas and stuff, trees, carcasses of dead animals. You know, and then all that will go into Mediterranean. You know, all of that. And we're talking not just, you know, rottening flash trees and houses and everything like that, but there were gasoline stations, there were storages of chemicals that got flooded. So this will just develop and move forward and get bigger. And that's another thing that the world has to understand. It's not a Ukrainian ecocide or problem anymore. You know, it's going to be Romanian, Bulgarian, Turkish, Greek, Italian, and so on. And that's the scope of these things. And that's the madness of this terror state that we're dealing with. So that actually brings me to another project that we did. Of course, we were immediate to react and to send aid. You've probably seen our reports. So we sent aid to Kherson area and Mykolaiv area, where we had lots of IDPs from Kherson flooded lands. So we sent actually a big supply from Pack Away Hunger, fast, nutritious meals, and also fresh water for drinking. So these were, and other food supplies, and medicine. So that was kind of our first response, and we continue on helping the victims of the flood, because they lost everything. I mean, these people, if IDPs that we have at the base, at least they were able to take a bag. These people didn't even get a chance, to take a bag of anything. They lost documents, they lost houses, they lost their livelihood, everything, family members, pets, you name it. So it's one problem on top of another, and we deal with it one thing at a time, and we never give up. We don't stop. We just take challenges as they come. So that kind of, I guess, describes what we have been doing recently and continue on doing. And also, we deliver aid personally, so we take it very personal and very serious. And we know people to whom we deliver. We have personal relations with them. We build up trust. And I think that's the only way to avoid bureaucracy or misplacement of things, or, to be sure that the people that need aid will get aid. It's more difficult, it's hard. It takes lots of energy, lots of time, and lots of money, because, gasoline is expensive. But another thing, our car is dead. So if to talk about what the mission needs right now, the mission needs a car to continue to deliver aid to the front lines and to make the routes, because through these 2 years of nonstop work, it's basically beyond recovery. So that is something that we are looking for right now, whether if there are donors that would want to donate a car or to help us buy one, that would be appreciated for the mission.
How people can donate, Christina?
Well, they can donate through our site. It's bethelight.global, and it's PayPal, or there is another option, because PayPal actually charges a small fee, but it's 501c3, so it's tax deductible for every donation, and it's US registered, so it's very easy for any US citizen to donate and help. If they want to actually donate the actual vehicle for the mission, because that's what we are looking for, they can just write on the site, and I'll get that message, and I'll always answer.
I wish you to find this car as fast as possible.
Otherwise, we'll be using bicycles, also an option.
I don't know, you will. You would. I won't be surprised if you do.
We never stop, Ukraine still has horses and bulls and whatever, oxen, whatever it takes. But we will continue on delivering and helping.
What kind of car you would need? Is it a truck, a minivan? What kind of?
It would probably be something between a large Jeep or a minivan that would be high enough to go on the front lines, because the roads there, as you know, are bad. Also, we drive throughout the mountains, because Vorota is in the mountains, so it has to be the car that can climb up and not die up the hill, so and I can send, if people send me messages, then I can send example of what we are looking for, so to make them the search easier, but basically a 4-wheel for sure, and something between the SUV, Jeep, and van, something of a large caliber that we can load and can be a four-wheel that could drive through treacherous areas and mountains and bad roads in the front lines because they're truly bad. You know, there's a lot of talk in Ukraine how during the presidency of Zelensky, they've been repairing all the roads that Russians are now destroying. So unfortunately, there'll be another wave of repairs when we win this war, and I'm sure that we will.
Hopefully soon.
Well, we just continue, you know, and we have our super Yoda on our side, our amazing General Zaluzhny. And as I said, this guy radiates such peace that, you know, I was worried before, but when I came out of his office, I said, yeah, you know, the power is with us.
That's huge, really. I don't know if our subscribers understand how huge it is, but for Ukraine, that's huge. That's a recognition, you know. Now you get a lot of credibility from Ukrainian people because Valeri Zaluzhny has lots of
and we hope to continue on now helping military together and, you know, make it even stronger, even bigger, the support, you know, because now they need it more than ever. And I'm so glad that we can do it openly now.
How will it help on the practical level, the fact that Valeri Zaluzhny becomes your ambassador?
Well, the practical level is, you know, he, as I said, for me, he radiates the light and he radiates the confidence that everything will be good, that power is with us and that we will win, you know. So I think that is the greatest inspiration for our people and for our armed forces, because to have such a leader for armed forces makes all the difference. And, you know, we nominated him to be in charge of the project with the shield, and that project specifically aimed to help our forces. And we're looking for adding other people to the project, and as well as international people that work with military, but also our own Ukrainian heroes, our own knights of light, so to say. And we already have one on our team. His name is Mamuka Mamulashvili. Maybe you know him or know him. He is in charge of the National Georgian Legion, which is part of Armed Forces of Ukraine. And he's been fighting since he was 14. He was a child soldier in Georgia during the Abkhazian War. And he was actually a prisoner of war at the age of 14. And he survived everything, and he continues to fight for liberty, freedom, and now he fights for Ukraine and dreams of Georgia being free, just as Ukraine will be. So, you know, he's our, you know, knight in shining armor, and I'm sure others will join in. So we want to build this kind of a strong team of heroes that our armed forces can look up to and can relate to, and feel that they have these people on their side. You know, it's more for them than for us. Because for us, we will continue to do what we're doing and been doing since the beginning of this full invasion. And we will continue on, you know, supporting constantly the units that we have been supporting, and maybe even more units we will be able to support. But for the units and for the soldiers, it's important to know that these people are with them, that our team is with them, because they need that inspiration. They need that reinforcement of light. And so this whole act and gesture is more for them, for our true heroes, for the soldiers, rather than for me or the mission or you or the program, but it's for them to know that all these people are with us.
Thank you very much, Christina, for your time and for this 1 hour interview. That was, as always, a pleasure to talk to you. And
let's continue to support each other, and together we will win.
Hopefully soon we will meet in victorious Ukraine. And whenever I'm saying hopefully soon, something like this will happen, I ask myself, what did I do today to make it happen? So if you guys watched it till the end, that's a good question to ask yourself. And thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting Ukraine and being this strong and persistent. This will happen soon. The light will prevail over darkness.
Definitely. That's why we're here.